I don't know if you know this, but NFL players are fighting for key incentives this week, and you can take advantage in the betting markets. Here are 13 player incentives that you should know about for week 18. All right, so you need to see this Patrick Mahomes incentives. Kansas City still has to play. They need to lock up the 1 seed. And Mahomes this season currently ranks 10th all-time, as you can see down here, in passing yards, but he has a chance to break the all-time record with 430 in this game. And I know what you're saying, 430 is a wacky number, and I agree, but we don't need him to throw for that to hit his prop, and he faces the Raiders' number 30 ranked secondary this week. And in his career against the Raiders, over the last 7 games, he averages 323 yards per game. Now, here's why that's important. Mahomes' prop is set at just 290.5 yards. The good matchup, the incentive to get the 1 seed, the incentive to push towards a brand new record for the guy, take the over. Next up is Lawson, the edge rusher from the Jets, and he just needs 1 more sack to earn an extra $600,000. That is a lot of coin, and this week he takes on a division rival, the Miami Dolphins. Now, this is a great spot for Lawson because the Dolphins' pass blocking this year ranks 31st overall in the NFL. And remember, he might be facing a backup, even a third-string quarterback in this one, who's probably not great at navigating the pocket. And Miami is in the Jets division, so Lawson's played them earlier this year, and in that game, look, he had a good game. He had a sack, that's perfect, but this is the thing that's really important. He had 6 pressures in that game. That is his season high on the year, and now he might be facing a third-string quarterback. So take the over on a half a sack for Lawson this week, and then check out this wide receivers incentive. It's the new Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver from this season in Christian Kirk, who needs 2 catches for $500,000. So that's very nice. He's probably going to get that, but he just needs 91 yards for another $500,000. Now, this is $1 million potential buyout here for Christian Kirk, who, look, a couple things are in our favor. He sees nice volume, 7.8 targets per game. He's great after the catch, ranking 15th overall in that department. So if he gets it, yeah, he can pick up more. And he sees a lot of great downfield usage. 22 deep targets, ranks 13th overall. Not only that, but this week he's in a must-win game to get to the playoffs, so he'll be playing the whole time against the Titans, who give up the 3rd most yards to wide receivers. His prop is set at just 51.5 yards. It's actually dropped from 56.5. Consider the over here. Now let's check out a quarterback who's trying to break a record, and that would be Justin Herbert, who right now is 6th all-time in pass completions in a season, and he only needs 34 to break Tom Brady's record from last year. Now, Brady is also right up there, 2nd most all-time for this year specifically, but Brady might be sat this week as they've clinched the 4 seed and don't have anything to play for. Now, I know what you're saying, oh, 34 completions, that's a lot. Well, Herbert's done it 3 times this year, and he's gone 33 or more in 5 games. And the Chargers actually have something to play for. They're trying to hold off Baltimore and secure the 5 seed so they potentially don't have to play the Buffalo Bills in the first round. So consider the over on Herbert's completions, and then check out this random wide receivers incentive. And that's Lions wide receiver Khalif Raymond, who needs 7 catches for 125 grand. Probably unlikely, but he currently sits at 550 receiving yards. He needs 50 more to hit 600 and get a $125,000 bonus. Now, here's the issue for Raymond. He's not playing a lot of snaps lately, just about 30%, and he's not running a lot of routes, just about 10, with the Lions wide receivers getting healthier. Now, that said, the Lions are aware of this prop, and he's seen 40 or more receiving yards in 3 straight games. Potentially because of that, consider his over if you find it in the market. Let's check out Gerald Everett, who needs 5 catches to get an extra 250 grand. That's a lot of money. On the season, he's only averaging 3.9 receptions per game right here, but on the year, in 50% of his games, he's hit at least 5 catches. Now, the downsides would be that the Chargers have healthy tight ends, the rookie Trey McKitty and Donald Parham, and when all those guys are healthy, well, you're seeing less snaps and usage for Everett. And here's that evidence. Over the last 3 games with all these guys healthy, his snaps have been reducing, and so have his routes. Only 18 routes run last week. But the positive news is that he faces the Broncos, who allow the 3rd most receptions, just 3 away from the most receptions this year to tight ends. And he's going to be extra motivated to get that money, and the Chargers are aware of this incentive. Okay, now let's talk about an elite wide receiver. And this one's pretty crazy that it's even possible, but it's Justin Jefferson. And right now, he ranks 7th all-time in receiving yards in a season, but he's 194 away from breaking Calvin Johnson's record. Now, I know what you're saying, 194 is insane, but he gets the Bears' number 25 secondary this week, and check this out. Last time he faced the Bears, he went for 154 yards, but that wasn't even his best game because he put up 193 yards versus the Bills. Still not his best game. He put up 223 yards versus Detroit just a couple of weeks ago. And the Vikings actually have some stuff to play for. It's nothing crazy, but if they win and the 49ers lose, the Vikings end up getting the 2 seed, which gives them, an extra home game potentially in the playoffs, a better matchup, you would think. So all this actually gives Jefferson a decent chance, but we don't need him to get 190 yards to hit this because his prop's only set at 90.5 receiving yards, so consider the over here. Now, I've been taking all of these bets on a site called prizepicks.com. I've been using it for over 2 years now. It's been fantastic, and they have the most player prop offerings I've seen across multiple sports, but definitely the NFL. And now there's a link in the description below. And if you click that link or just go to prizepicks.com and use the code SAL22, they'll give you a free bet matched up to $100. You put in 20, you get 20. You want to put in 100 because you're a heavy hitter? Well, you get 100 right back. You can check it out with the link in the description below. And here's an example of a prop I've already taken so far. I've combined Mahomes, Jefferson, and Kirk, and I end up taking all those overs that we discussed on Prize Picks, link down below. Okay, back to the props, and a teammate of Christian Kirk is Zay Jones. He needs 2 catches for 250 grand. He'll probably get that, but he needs 98 yards for an extra $500,000. Now, it might be difficult for both him and Kirk to both hit over 90 yards each, although not impossible, because they are facing this Titans secondary that last time Trevor Lawrence played them threw for 360 yards. And Zay Jones himself had a nice game in that one, earning 12 targets, very elite, and 77 yards is pretty dang good. So consider his over, and if you thought Khalif Raymond was random, check out this next receiver. And that's DeAndre Carter of the Chargers. He needs 2 catches, just 2, to earn an extra 250 grand. And as a 30-year-old wide receiver, his career might be ending soon, so I'm sure they want to get him this. They've said they're aware. Now, here's the issue for DeAndre Carter. Since Mike Williams and Keenan Allen returned, these are his snaps, 14, 23. He's basically playing around 20% of the snaps, but his routes run just 8, 7, 5, and 5. You know, that's not a lot. That's below 10 per week. That's not great. But last week alone on his 5 routes, he saw a couple of nice bubble screens, easy receptions. So he had 3 targets and 2 catches because, again, they're aware of this incentive. So all you really need here is 2 bubble screens out of DeAndre Carter. Consider the over if you can find it in the prop market. Okay, let's talk about another edge rusher's incentive, and that's Zadarius Smith. This is a big one. From the Vikings, he needs 1 sack to earn an extra 750 grand. And he'll be taking on the Bears' number 15 ranked pass blocking unit. Not bad. However, Justin Fields has been ruled out. Obviously, he's a solid quarterback. He's very mobile, hard to sack, and now there's going to be a backup in there who's not as mobile. And since the Bears are division rivals, he faced them in week 5, and in that game, he actually earned himself a nice half a sack right here, and he got 2 pressures, which is good. If you're getting 1 or 2 pressures in the game, you have a chance to get a sack. So consider the over a half a sack on Zadarius Smith so you can cash in that extra 750 grand. Now, this one's interesting. Tyler Higbee needs 13 yards to hit an extra 500 grand, and Sean McVay said they're going to play their guys this week. Now, believe it or not, if you scroll back a little bit, these are his receiving yards in games: 0, 14, 11. Then he gets 27, but then 11 last week. He's actually been under this number 13 and 4 of his last 6. So this is no gimme. But he does continue to play over 90% of the snaps. Now, if his number is low in the upper teens or the 20s, consider the over here. Back to the defenders with Preston Smith. He's going to have a difficult one here. Against the Lions, he's going to have a sack and a half, but he'll get $1 million. And the Lions pass blocking unit has been beaten. They ranked 21st this year at actually protecting the quarterback. Jared Goff back there, not really elusive. He can kind of be sacked at will. Now, Smith played the Lions earlier this year. He ended up getting 2 pressures. No sacks in the game, but he has a lot of pressures this year, ranking top 10 overall in pressure rate. Okay, here's a fun one for you. Jamal Williams right now, he sits at 994 yards. If he gets 6 more yards, he'll have 1,000 yards, a career high, and he'll get an extra 250 grand incentive. But that's not all, because he needs just 1 more touchdown to tie Barry Sanders' record, and he's been quoted this year literally saying, "I'm coming for you, Barry." So consider the anytime touchdown prop here. Now, if any of these props are appealing to you, I've taken the ones that are currently available on PrizePicks, and most of them will be by the weekend. Again, link down below. You get a free bet up to $100. Just use that code SAL22. So these are some of the key incentives that I found and wanted to share with you. I'm curious, have you found any on your own, and which ones have you taken? Now, hopefully this helped you, and if it did, that's my whole goal here. I appreciate it if you want to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Enjoy the games.